why your mouth feels like a desert after 45 and what it means for your body. You wake up at 3 a.m. and your tongue is stuck to the roof of your mouth. You reach for water, not because you're thirsty, but because your mouth feels like it hasn't produced saliva in hours. By morning, your lips are cracked, your throat is scratchy, and somehow brushing your teeth doesn't feel like it's enough anymore. If this sounds familiar, you've probably already asked your doctor about it. Maybe they mentioned dehydration. Maybe they said, just drink more water. But here's what almost no one tells women going through this stage of life. Your mouth is one of the most hormone-sensitive tissues in your entire body. And what's happening at night has very little to do with how much water you drank. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this happens, what it means for your teeth and gums long-term, and the one daily habit that can start reversing it, starting tonight. Here's a number that surprises most women. Research shows that as many as 1 in 2 women going through menopause experience dry mouth, a condition clinically known as xerostomia. Not occasional dryness, a persistent daily sensation of a mouth that simply isn't producing what it used to. And it's not just uncomfortable, it changes how your mouth functions. Saliva isn't just moisture, it's a delivery system. It buffers acid, delivers minerals back to your enamel, and controls which bacteria thrive in your mouth and which get washed away. When that flow drops, everything downstream changes. Taste feels duller, chewing feels harder, cavities start appearing in places they never did before, and gums that were healthy for decades suddenly start bleeding. Most women in their late 40s and 50s aren't told this is connected to anything hormonal. They're told it's just getting older. But age isn't actually the driver here. Something much more specific is happening. And it has a name. For most of a woman's reproductive life, her salivary glands operate quietly in the background, barely noticed. That's not an accident. Salivary gland tissue is lined with estrogen receptors, meaning estrogen doesn't just regulate reproduction, it directly regulates how much saliva your glands produce and how that saliva is composed. When estrogen and progesterone are stable, salivary flow stays stable too. But during perimenopause and menopause, as those hormone levels fall, the glands responsible for keeping your mouth lubricated start responding to that drop. The same way skin loses moisture or joints start feeling stiffer, the mouth is not exempt from the hormonal shift. It's simply the one part of the body almost nobody thinks to check. Researchers studying postmenopausal women found something striking. Women with the lowest levels of estradiol circulating in their saliva reported the most severe dry mouth symptoms, and this pattern held consistently across multiple studies. In one case-control study, women who began hormone replacement therapy showed a measurable rise in salivary estradiol and their reported dry mouth symptoms, including waking up at night with a dry mouth, something 28 out of 30 women in the study experienced beforehand, dropped significantly after treatment. This isn't a coincidence, and it isn't just aging. It's a direct, measurable hormonal mechanism. And once you understand it, the 3 a.m. dry mouth suddenly makes a lot more sense. So, what exactly is estrogen doing for your mouth that you lose when levels decline? First, gland output. Estrogen supports the function of the glands under your jaw and around your mouth that produce the bulk of your saliva during the day. When estrogen drops, those glands simply produce less. Researchers describe it as needing at least a 40 to 50% drop in flow before a woman even notices symptoms, which means the damage is often well underway before it becomes obvious. Second, saliva composition. It's not only about quantity, it's about quality. Menopause has been shown to alter the mineral content, buffering capacity, and pH of saliva itself. Buffering capacity is what neutralizes the acid that forms on your teeth every time you eat. When that buffering weakens, the same food that never used to bother your enamel can now start eroding it. Third, bacterial balance. One study comparing menopausal women with low estradiol to women taking supplemental estrogen found that the low estrogen group had significantly less saliva circulating and significantly more bacteria present in the mouth. Less saliva means less natural rinsing. More bacteria sitting on the same tooth surface for longer periods is exactly the environment that leads to plaque buildup, gum inflammation, and new cavities in adults who never had cavity problems before. Put simply, this isn't about a lack of willpower or slipping on your dental hygiene. Your mouth's entire internal ecosystem, flow, chemistry, and bacterial balance is being reshaped by a hormonal shift most women are never told to expect. This is exactly why so many women in their late 40s and 50s say the same thing to their dentist. I've never had this many problems with my teeth before, and I haven't changed anything I'm doing. You haven't changed. Your hormones have. The good news is that even without addressing hormones directly, which is a conversation for you and your physician, there is a well-studied, low-risk tool that works with the mechanism itself rather than just masking the symptom. That tool is xylitol, a naturally occurring sugar alcohol, most commonly derived from birch trees, that has been studied for decades for its effects on oral bacteria and saliva stimulation. Here's how it actually helps mechanically. When xylitol touches your tongue and the roof of your mouth, it stimulates saliva flow from the smaller, often overlooked glands in your palate. Glands whose saliva is unusually rich in minerals and immune compounds, exactly what a hormonally thinned saliva supply is missing. At the same time, xylitol acts as a prebiotic. Harmful cavity-causing bacteria can't metabolize it the way they metabolize sugar, so their numbers gradually decline while the balance shifts back toward a healthier bacterial environment. But, and this is the part almost nobody explains correctly, how you use xylitol matters more than how much you use. The benefit doesn't come from chewing it constantly throughout the day. It comes from a brief window of stimulation followed by rest. Use it once or twice, let your saliva do its work for the next 20 to 30 minutes without eating or drinking again. And that's when remineralization actually happens. When the minerals your saliva just delivered have time to redeposit onto your enamel instead of being washed away by the next sip of coffee. Think of it the way you'd think about strength training. Continuous, non-stop activity without recovery doesn't build anything. It breaks things down. It's the rest period after the stimulus that allows rebuilding to happen. Your enamel works exactly the same way. Beyond xylitol, 3 additional habits make a measurable difference for hormone-related dry mouth. Sipping water consistently throughout the day, rather than large amounts infrequently, keeps baseline moisture more stable. Avoiding alcohol-based mouth rinses is essential. Alcohol is drying to oral tissue and can worsen the very symptom you're trying to fix. And tracking your symptoms alongside your hormonal stage, whether that's perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, gives you real language to bring to your physician or dentist instead of vague descriptions of feeling off. Dry mouth after 45 isn't a personal failing, and it isn't simply getting older. It's a measurable, hormone-driven shift in one of the most active tissues in your body. And now you know why it's happening and what actually helps. If this connected some dots for you, subscribe. This channel exists to translate what's happening in your body during midlife into information you can actually use, one topic at a time. Any information on this channel is provided for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for the advice provided by your dentist, physician, or other healthcare professional. You should not use the information on this channel for diagnosing or treating a health problem or disease, or prescribing any medication or other treatment. You should always speak with your dentist, physician, or other healthcare professional before taking any medication or nutritional, herbal, or homeopathic supplement, or adopting any treatment for a health problem. If you have or suspect that you have a medical problem, promptly contact your healthcare provider. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking professional advice because of something you have learned on this channel. Information provided on this channel and the use of any products or services purchased by you on affiliated sites does not create a doctor-patient relationship between you and any of the physicians affiliated with this channel. Information and statements regarding dietary supplements available on this channel have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.